Adopt a resolution adopting a city debt management policy. Jim?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the multi-year water and wastewater rate program recognizes needed significant and costly capital improvements for upgrading and replacing infrastructure. The rate program and the City Council approved capital improvement program projects issuance of debt financing. Recent state legislation requires cities to adopt a debt management program, a debt management and disclosure policy, facilitating financial transparency and public accessibility to information regarding debt. The draft policy in front of you is a very general guideline and policy, and it has not been tailored specifically for the water and wastewater financing that was discussed tonight at the study session. Three key provisions of the proposed policy include generally stating purposes of debt. It outlines the types of debt and debt structures to be considered, and then compliance and internal control procedures. The policy, again, in very general terms, states that prior to issuing debt, the city will consider all available funding sources, including cash reserves, current revenues, potential future revenues, grants, and all other financing sources legally available. It's, again, broadly states that expenditures of bond proceeds are only expected to fund major non-recurring expenses, including such things as project planning and design, construction or renovation of buildings, permanent structures and infrastructure, land acquisition, equipment acquisition, financing costs, and any necessary debt service reserves. The refunding or refinancing of existing debt obligations is also provided for in the draft policy. The policy goes on to state that the city will evaluate alternatives to secure the most cost-advantageous financing while limiting the city's risk exposure. There is a list of potential types of debt, 4 of which revenue bonds, certificates of participation, pension obligation bonds, and lease purchase agreements the city has used in the recent past. There are additional types of debt that are outlined that would be possibilities sometime in the future. The policy spells out the city's commitment to meet all legal compliance requirements. Reports will be filed on a timely basis or would be filed with the California Debt and Investment Advisory Commission, and periodic continuing disclosure requirements would be met. Again, the state legislation requires all cities to adopt this general type of debt management policy. The city attorney and bond counsel and the financial advisor have all reviewed the draft policy and are satisfied that it meets state's requirements. There are actually 2 resolutions in your agenda packet for approval of the policy. One is for city council action, and the other is for the San Bruno Public Financing Authority, which is the city council acting as the finance authority. So there are the 2 mirror copy resolutions for the 2 bodies to act on. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions that the council would have.
Any questions for Jim?
Yes.
Marty?
Very timely. For all you that missed our earlier meeting at 6, we're investigating issuing $39 million of debt to pay for our sewer and water over 30 years, potentially at around a 3.59% interest rate. So it's needed. My other question to you is, this debt could also be potentially added for providing funding for fiber expansion,
The policy,
or the policy that would allow debt finance, fiber installation, debt financing.
again, this is a general policy that needs to be in place before any debt is issued, but this policy it anticipates in future years any number of financings that the city council would direct.
Okay, thank you.
And
Rico?
just to be clear, yes, we did have a study session, but this is a requirement that is now a law of the state of California that we must, as a city, have this in place.
It actually became effective at the beginning of this year, is correct.
So this is, yes, what Councilmember Marty Medina said is correct, but this aspect is different from what was discussed, which will be coming back on the 24th, just so we're clear, okay?
Anyone else? Someone like to introduce the resolution?
I'll introduce.
Vice Mayor Ibarra,
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell,
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Our final item under conduct of business is 10E, receive a report and provide direction to staff regarding recruitment of the new city clerk.
Through the chair, I mean, not to get out of line here, but there were two resolutions. Were we supposed to introduce both under two entities? That caught my ear, Jim. I was listening at this late hour.
Yeah, there's two resolutions.
We're the public funding authority.
San Bruno Public Financing Authority, that's
Okay.
correct.
So I'll introduce that resolution.
Vice Mayor, Director Ibarra,
Aye.
Director Marty Medina,
Aye.
Director Rico Medina,
Aye.
Director O'Connell,
Aye.
Director Ruane.
Aye. Thank you, Ken.